Hi, I'm Leanne and I'm from Yoga Movement. I'm using this practice today to check in with myself, but also to check in with you all out there. So what we can do is we can use our practice just to check in with ourselves, but that can mean so many things to so many different people. Checking in with yourself, maybe just seeing what's happening with your body this week, what's tight, what's sore, what feels a little weak, what feels strong, what's good, what's bad. It may be something about checking in with our minds as well as our bodies. So often, sometimes we need to just touch base between mind, breath and body. And to feel that grounding effect, especially if everything's really chaotic and crazy. Or we can use our practice to connect and touch base with each other. So I'm outside in my backyard, beautiful day. You might be at home with your practice, but you can feel like this is a practice to connect back with me if you're in one of my normal classes. And you're not able to do that at the moment. So lots of different ways, lots of different reasons. So let's get down to it. So what I want to start today is in child's pose. So bring yourself down to the mat, flip yourself over, big toes together, knees a little wide to get started with. We set our bottoms back, we might even give them a little lift and set them back as close to your feet as you can. So the belly, the chest comes down. I like to sway a little side to side. And we bring our forehead down to the mat, hands out in front. So we close our eyes and just start to bring that breath into the body. Slow it down. Deep inhales through nose or mouth. And just feeling where that's entering through. So as it slides down the back of your throat, it allows the diaphragm to grow. You're breathing in between those front ribs and those back ribs. Even the belly might start to grow a little. And then as you breathe out, you just let that belly be nice and heavy. The chest might drift down a little further. Armpits, they might just be a little heavier. Fingers, palms softening down towards your mat or the ground, whatever you're finding your connection to the base to. So inhale again, nice and slowly. Just breathing, finding that space within your body. So you might notice it between the rib cage. You might even be able to notice it between the shoulder blades, through the belly. Maybe even pressing that breath, that space down through the hips. And then as you breathe out, find a little softness in the body. So just allowing your body to drift downwards. Letting all of that breath go. Taking a nice deep breath in. Allowing that breath to travel deep inside the body. We're just watching where you're creating some space. What grows, what moves. And as you breathe out, let all of the breath go. So let the belly be heavy, chest fall downwards, arms nice and heavy. Fingers and palms making that connection to your base. The next inhale is going to bring you up. So press into the spine. Come back up to tabletop. Knees might come in a little. Just winding the body around. So we're going to do a bit more like a groovy cat than a standard cat-cow. And we're just moving our hips, maybe one way and the other. Start to bring a little movement through those side bodies. You might do that by just bending one elbow at a time. Start to look over your right shoulder, left shoulder. Maybe even poking the bottom up a little as you go. And just feeling that where you're making your connections. So what's happening with your palms, try to spread the fingers out nice and wide. Laying those knuckles down into the mat. You might start to increase that movement into circles. Or you might be like a wiggly worm. The elbows might even come down a little lower. Just bring a little bit more movement, just finding what's happening within your body at the moment. Using slow breath. We need to bring that breath in to nourish, to create space. Just making that connection, what's happening through our minds, our bodies. That breath, using the bridge between those two pathways. We're going to set the hips back, leave the knees where they are, or even just bring them in a little. Set the bottom back and lengthen the fingertips out in front. So you want to feel that the hips are being pulled out behind, but you're also trying to lengthen those fingertips in front as best you can. So we're starting to feel as though we're lengthening through that back body, lengthening through the arms. So you might even curl the tailbone under a little, trying to pull those hips behind. Slow breath. Lift up through the hips, pull the belly in. We're going to send the hips forward, shoulders roll back, belly comes down, press into the feet just to create a little space for the knees. Shoulders come back, chest comes forward, and elbows pull back behind you, so really tighten them in. So pressing into the palms and the knuckles. Breathing in. As you breathe out, extend the chest forward and slowly come down, but pull the elbows directly back behind you. Lengthen that crown of the head as you come down. Breathing in, send the tailbone behind. As you breathe out, press back into your spine. You don't have to be as high. Extend the chest forward, press into the palms, come all the way down. I'm going to do that again. Breathing in, tailbone comes back, breathe out, press back into the spine. Letting all of that breath go, just flowing it downwards. Warming up those triceps. Once more. Using all of that breath as you breathe out. So we're going to let ourselves come all the way down, just soften it a little. Extend the crown of the head out in front. And then using the palms, we're going to bring the right palm forward, the left palm behind, without actually physically moving them. You're just pulling on the mat and turn to look over your right shoulder. Come forward. We're going to do the other side. Left. Come to center. Breathe in. Press into palms. Knees lift. Child's pose again. Knees together. Or a little bit of space, but more together than what you normally would. And just lengthen those fingertips out in front. Inhale, draw the belly. We're going to bring the hands together. As we come up, send the hands nice and wide. Take them all the way up to prayer. And as you breathe out, hips go back, hands go back through center, and then lengthen those fingertips out once again. Again, breathe in, draw it up, hands wide, all the way up. Breathe out, set the hips back, hands down through prayer, and then making that connection down to the mat. You're welcome to just spend a moment longer here, finding your grounding if you like. If you're coming up with me, breathe in, pull up through the belly. Hands nice and wide, hands at prayer. Breathe out, take it down. And stay. Just letting the weight of your belly, weight of your chest down into your thighs. Soften them a little, let the forehead drift out. And then move your hips side to side. Just finding a little bit of movement in the spot that you're in. Breathing in. We're going to pull up. We're going to look over our right shoulder, press back into your spine. Bring the right hand behind and find your twist. So looking over your right shoulder, pulling up to the crown of the head nice and tall. Pull the belly in. Breathe out, staying here. We're going to work it to the other side. So tilt forward a little, take it over, press back into the spine. Use your hands for support. Lengthen up to that crown of the head. Allow yourself to come forward. We're going to find tabletop again. So we're going to set up for down dog. So knees underneath hips, hands forward to the shoulders, so I don't want them jammed in. We get too much compression on the wrists, but actually move them forward a little, fingers nice and spread. And open the chest by shrugging the elbows in, kind of like feeling like we're pulling through our thumbs. Tuck the toes, lift the hips up to ribs, pull the belly in and lift your knees, lift the hips and take it back to down dog and walk it out. So just finding where you need to be. Just seeing what your body's allowing today will be different on different days. So you might just shuffle back and forth. You might just allow those fingers to become a little more spread. If you've got one hand further in front than the other, just evening off, because once we feel grounded through our hands, they don't move. Then it's an adjustment of the feet. So you can always bring the feet forward. Allow the sit bones to lift, press back against your thighs and just stay here for a moment. If you want to challenge your balance a little, close your eyes. Just notice what's happening in the body. Knees may be still a little bent, trying to drop the heels, but trying to lift up through the sit bones. So the weight is being pressed away from your hands. You're opening through those chests still though. So really trying to press those, or feel like you're pulling those thumbs in together to open the chest. Meanwhile, you're trying to press that back towards your thighs. I know it's hard. Lots and lots of things going on. Breathing in, we're going to lift the heels, bend the knees so they come into the belly, lift the hips, roll forward a little and take the knees down. Look forward. Just shrug those shoulders back. Look forward again, staying here. Breathing in, pull the belly in, lift the knees, breathe out, press it back. And stay. Just checking in. See if that feels a little more comfortable. Or maybe we're starting to work some of those muscles a little more. Close your eyes, check in. Inhale, lift heels, bend knees, lift hips, roll it forward. And bring the knees down. You might like to challenge yourself and just leave them off the mat an inch. Breathe. Inhale, pull it up. Exhale, lengthen the legs. We're going to lift those heels again, bend those knees, but we're going to look forward. So lift your hips and walk your feet up to your hands. Little baby steps, trying to keep those hips lifted. Once you reach your feet there, just allow yourself to allow the top half of the body to drift down. So you might like to bend your knees. You might like to just grab a hold of your elbows. So bend your arms and sway back and forth. So a little lift as you come over to each side, so that when we go down to the bottom, we're trying to drag those elbows a little closer to the ground. Keep the knees bent though, we want to be nice and safe on those spines. It's going one way and then the other. You might drift a little higher as you go through, depending on keeping that spine nice and safe, or it might be just really slight movements. And let yourself come back to center. Take the hands back to the calves or the ankles. Lift the sit bones, crown of the head comes down. And stay here for a moment or two. Just breathing out. Try to lengthen those back of the legs as best you can. Hands are going to come to shins, bend the knees. Pull the belly in, half lift. So we want to make it nice and active. Squeeze those glutes. press back into that spine. Exhale down, but use the momentum of your feet to pull you up. You might like to send the hands nice and wide, joining them into prayer. Bend the knees and bring them back down through center. Breathing out, letting the top half of the body hang down. Half lift again, bend the knees, hands to shins or to the top of your mat. Breathing in. Exhale down, but use that momentum. Press into your feet. Pull up through center. Bend the knees. Hands wide. Breathing in. Breathing out. Hands at prayer. Sink it down. Lifting through sit bones. Give the head a shake. One more half lift, hands to prayer, breathing in. Exhale down, press, roll, draw up. This time we're going to bring the hands back down through prayer, but only to the chest. Inhale, we're going to link the fingers, press the palms away, and as you breathe out, really round through that spine, so pressing the back body away. Bend the knees. I'm going to try to open up through that back body. Inhale, hands come in, they come up. I'm going to bend the knees, I'm in a squat position, the hands come down low and send them wide. Pull up through the feet. Inhale, up. Hands at prayer, sink them down. Inhale, send the hands away. Exhale, hold. So just pressing away from those palms, rounding the spine, knees are bent. Might be really activating those legs at the time. Inhale up. Exhale down, squat it down nice and low. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale away. Exhale, sink it a little lower. Inhale up, exhale down. This time you're lifting up through the sit bones, letting those hands come down, letting the crown of the head come down. Might like to lift one heel, letting the top half of the body come down a little further, and then checking in with your balance. See if you can come on toes of both feet and then drop the other side. It's a little tricky. Or if you're finding that a struggle with your balance, switch it over to the other side. You can always bring both heels down first before you switch over to the other side. So whatever is working for you, I'm just rotating through each feet. You might come on both balls, both feet, or you might be traveling through both heels. Just activating those legs a little, letting the top half of the body sink down, lengthening through those hamstrings, activating through thighs, calves, challenging our balance a little. And half lift a little, exhale down, we're coming down to the mat. So bring your knees down. Come back through tabletop. Big toes together, knees a little wide. Bellies come down, fingertips out in front. And just sink yourself down into child's pose. Checking in with yourself once again, just allowing that breath to come through nose, mouth, sliding down the back of your throat, but letting the hips sink, the belly sink, fingertips, palms, making that connection, just allowing them to be still. Bring yourself up, draw up through belly and chest. We're going to send those legs out in front. Now sitting on your bottoms, hands behind, so fingertips come behind, and feet are roughly hip distance apart. Now pulling the chest forward, snugging the elbows back. Bring the heels in a little, not too far away. What we're going to do is just feel grounded between those heels, outside blades, ball of big toes. Breathing in, we're going to send our hips up, press into your palms. Open up through that chest. Holding here, breathing out. Inhale, take it down. Exhale, hold. I'm going to do that 2 more times. So just really extending, trying to draw those shoulders back. Breathing in. Exhale, down. Inhale, up, pressing into the palms. Exhale, down. One more. Inhale up. Breathe out. Okay. So you might like to turn the hands if you're feeling that in the arms. Bring the fingertips facing towards you, bend the elbows, lean back into them, and then just sway side to side. So bring the knees over to the left, to the right. Start by just allowing them to move. And then when you get over to one side, hold them there. Try to lay those knees down to the ground as best you can. You might even like to bring those elbows all the way back. Now try, if your knees are poking over to the right, try looking over your left shoulder or reverse it, whichever way. Just holding here, breathing, slow breath in, slow breath out. You're going to take the knees over to the other side and look over the opposite shoulder. Again, the other way. Looking over that opposite shoulder. Just breathing. And switch it back. Okay, allow yourself to come back up, so using your hands. What we're going to do is keep your knees bent out in front, sitting up on your sit bones. And we're going to bring our left hand underneath and grab a hold of our right ankle. Bring your right ankle in and let that knee come out in front. Now what we do with the other leg, so with our left leg, is we turn that foot away from us and take it over to the other side. So try to sit up, breathing in. We're going to press ourselves over to our right and just work a bit of a spinal twist. So pressing back into that spine, using your hands and looking over your right shoulder. Lifting up all the way through to the crown of the head. You can close your eyes if you like. Slow breath in, slow breath out. You might feel a little cramping into those hips, so just be kind and breathe. Don't push too far if you're feeling too tight. Allow a little bit of softness. Allow the lengthening process to get a little deeper. Okay, very gently, we're going to switch ourselves over to the other side. So we're going to leave the legs where they are, pressing back into the spine, and then we're just going to take our chest forward for a moment. Okay. So coming forward. Set the knees out in front to begin with, hands behind, just give them a little sway side to side. So right hand comes in and grabs the left ankle and brings it in nice and close and brings the left knee out in front. Then we take that right leg and place it behind. So you can place foot to thigh if you like. Right foot coming behind as best we can. Breathing in, open it up over to the left. So use your hands for leverage. Breathing in. You might be a little different from one side to the other, that's okay. We really want to lengthen up through to that crown of the head. You might gently look over your left shoulder if that's right for you. You can feel a little more cramped in this side than the other. It's quite normal for you to feel different from one side to the other. Just close your eyes, allow yourself to stay, allow yourself to breathe. Find some softness. So maybe letting those glutes uncurl a little. Nice deep breath. Come around. Take it over to the other side. So press back into that spine. Lift the chest forward. And then we're just going to bring those hands forward. Lean the chest forward again. Sink it down as best you can. Breathe. Okay. Lift it up, take the legs out in front. Just want to send a bit of movement to those hips by swaying the knees back and forth. Breathing nice and slowly. Remember to bring that thought into your breath, into your body. Feeling grounded between all areas. I'm going to bring the soles of the feet together, the knees nice and wide. I don't want to pull them right in close to butterfly. I want you more like diamonds, so you can press them away a little. Just have a little rock, find those sit bones, breathing in, press up into the crown of the head. And as you breathe out, you're just going to sway side to side, send the hips back, and we're going to allow our belly, our chest, our forehead to come down. So what I am looking for is a flat spine, so flat between crown of the head, like a board, all the way through to the back. If you're feeling really tight through that lower spine, if this is too much for you, you can absolutely come up, round the spine, and find, so tuck the tailbone in and find a rounded spine. Nice big C shape of the spine. So that's if you're feeling really compressed through that lower spine. Otherwise, you can find your flat spine by sending the hips back and sending the belly and the chest and the forehead down. So just work with whatever's right for you. Close your eyes, take a nice deep breath in, and as you breathe out, let that belly and that chest come down. Hands might sit at your feet. You might even just give your feet a little bit of a massage through the balls of the feet, maybe the toes. Just applying a little bit of pressure there. Our poor feet, they go through so much hardship, carrying all of our weight. You might even just like to bring those hands a little wide and let those shoulders sink down, whatever feels good for you today. Remember, this practice is about checking in with yourself, maybe checking in with me. Maybe you might feel a little more accountable by doing that. Accountable with your own practice, accountable within yourself. Whatever you need it to be, just slow breath in Slow breath out as we let the top part of our body sink. Softening through the thighs. Finding some space around our hips. Just letting all that tension go. Focus back to your breath. Take a nice deep inhale. Pull the belly in and sway side to side to bring yourself up so that we can be nice and gentle and kind to our spines. Shrug the shoulders back, lifting up to the crown of the head, and then find an easy seat. So whether that's cross-legged, whether that's legs out in front with a slight bend, just want us to feel our bottoms, our sit bones connected into our base, lengthening up to the crown of the head. Shrug your shoulders down and let the hands come nice and heavy on the thighs. So we're just letting the palms come down. Just let the forehead come down a little, lengthening through the back of that neck. Focus in on the slowness of our breath. Deep breath in through nose or mouth. Pulling down the back of the throat, allowing that chest to lift. And as you breathe out, let all of the breath go. So just allow yourself to sink a little here. I'm going to spend a few moments sitting quietly, noticing within ourselves, taking notice of what's happening within our minds. Is it busy today, busier than normal? Or have you been able to find a little bit of peace, a little bit of quietness through your practice? What's happening with your breath? Is it a little deeper than when you first started? Is it slower? What effect is that having within your body? What is that doing? Just sit, notice. Trying not to process too much. Try not to have an opinion on it. Try not to give it a right or a wrong, but more just noticing what's happening. Noticing that it's there. I want you to pick up one hand, place it on top of your chest. Pick up your other hand and place it on top of that hand. Again, noticing that breath, noticing the weight of your hands on your chest, on your heart chakra. Noticing that as you breathe in, they lift. But as you breathe out, they sink down. Slowly, gently bring your hands to prayer. Fingers and palms gently touching. Raise the back of the thumb and your first finger up to your forehead. Bow your head. Repeat after me. Namaste. So thank you for joining me in with your practice today. Thank you for checking in with yourself, checking in with me, being accountable. Just being okay with giving ourselves a little bit of time. So I hope to see you all soon, whether it's here in your own lounge room or whether it's in class. If you've got any questions, please feel free to always send me a message, Yoga Movement with Leanne, and we'll talk again soon. Thank you.